What is going on, guys? Today I have an exciting review for you because I promise this barrel system is unlike anything you've ever seen before, and it is the Lone Paintball Overcore kit.
All I hear, go get the money, so I go get it. Hate means I do something right, so I'ma let him. Yeah, I'ma let him, yeah, I'ma let him. I hit the nail on the head, yeah, I'ma let him. All I hear, go get the money, so I go get it.
This barrel kit was created by Lone Paintball, and like I said, it is unlike any barrel system you've ever seen before in the sport. Full disclosure, Lone Paintball did ask if I could do a review on their barrel system, and I said, absolutely. So they went ahead and sent the barrel system out to me, but as you guys know, I give honest, unbiased reviews, so that is what I'm gonna do with this product. Whether it's sent to me for free or I purchase it myself, every single one of my reviews is going to be honest and upfront. That's something you can count on. Now that I've got that out of the way, let's talk about how I received the barrel and how you, as a consumer, will receive the barrel. Now, if you were to buy this barrel kit from Lone Paintball, this is how it would come. You go to their website, lonepaintball.com. There are a number of different ways you can go about and buy the system, which is on their website. Pretty simple to break down, and you can decide I just want a very basic system or with multiple backs, which I'll get into. Now, this is the case it comes in. I will say that this case leaves a lot to be desired. It's definitely a cheaper case. Does it hold all your barrels and keep things safe from getting scratched up and dinged up? Sure, but this is not the fanciest case in the world. If you go ahead and open it up, it just kind of flaps open like that, and it's just kind of it's a soft little stretchy material, but I do think this barrel deserves a better case. So one cool thing about this is this QR code, right? So you go ahead and scan it, and you can let them know what size the paint that you're using, right? Which is cool because this actually comes with a ball sizer with the most common ball sizes on it, which I think is pretty sweet. I do think that this ball sizer needs to have a few more holes in it because paint is getting smaller and smaller. And so I do think if they had a few more, I think that'd be awesome. But the QR code is on the sizer and the QR code is here. So basically, you go ahead and figure out what size paintballs you're using, scan this and select which one it is. Then you can go ahead and select if you want to overbore, bore match, or underbore. And it's going to tell you, depending on which one you want, exactly which size backs you should be using and what you should expect, which is really, really cool. If you go further into it, it even has some graphs and stuff like that about like, this is a performance with a traditional barrel and this is the performance with the Overcore kit. It also comes with 3 different size O-rings, which I'll get more into later. Now, depending on which one you get, it'll come with 3 barrel backs, right? With 3 different diameters, which has a 6.83, a 6.87, and a 6.91. The barrel back looks short, but is deceiving because this is an 8-inch control bore, which is kind of the gold standard now when it comes to paintball barrels. And of course, a barrel tip, which looks really reminiscent of the old, like, I know this sounds weird, but it really reminds me of the old Smart Parts, like, ion barrel tips. And if you were to get the other kit, it has this Overcore, which I would call like a standard kit, right? This one does not unscrew. These 3 will unscrew so you could change out the backs. However, this one does not. It is one piece, but you could still go ahead and change out the Delrin pieces here, which I'll get into as well. Now, if you were to just buy, not this, but just this part right here, we're talking like $129. But I will say, this is quality material. The finishing on the inside is very, very nice. Sometimes I get a little iffy with like small companies and the ability to really put in the time to really finish off the insides of these barrels and everything like that. But honestly, these are high quality. I will say the inserts are high quality and so are the barrels themselves, which are fantastic. And I was really happy to see. With this portion here, I like that it's all different colors, so it's really easy to identify, so you're not like, oh, which is my back and everything like that. You just know this is the color that I usually use. I know for me, it's always gonna be the red insert 683 because I like using 684 backs primarily, so this was perfect for me, so this is what I use when I play with it. Now, everything that I review on my YouTube channel, I test out. I just don't go ahead and just start talking about it like I know what I'm talking about and like I've used it before and then say it's good or bad. Absolutely not. I'm not a scientist, right? I'm not gonna throw 15 different barrels on and be like, yeah, this one shoots really good. No, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put on my freaking marker and go play with it like every other normal paintball player does, and gauge it against my stock barrel or my aftermarket barrels. Like, do I like the sound signature? Do I like the way it feels? Do I like the way it points? Whatever. That's how I go ahead and gauge these things, right? Non-scientific, but it's real life, actual testing, if you want to call it that. I freaking use it, and I let you know if it's good or not, right? So that's what I did. I threw it on my GO3, which I usually use a Dia Ultralight, a Boomstick, or even a Deadly Wind with a Freak Kit in it. So I've used a bunch of different barrels, and I can honestly say I was pretty surprised with this barrel. So let's get into how these things actually work, because if you look at this thing here, it looks kind of crazy, right? When I first looked at it, I was like, dude, what am I looking at? But the cool thing about these barrels is you can adjust the backs here, right? So you could do a bore match and overbore and underbore, right? I do think that they need to come out with different sizes that may be a little bit smaller because paint is a little bit smaller. But what this is for is paintballs are variable when they get fired through your paintball marker, right? They're gelatinous balls that are changing shape, and a lot of times they're not perfectly around, especially when you're playing rec ball, right? I know at my field, my paint is all sorts of different shapes and stuff like that, and it's not the greatest paint on earth. Now, most people are not gonna be shooting top of the line paint when they're playing rec ball, so I wanted to really put it to the test against rec ball paint, because we all know top tier paint is gonna shoot well, right? Because what's the biggest thing when it comes to accuracy? Cleanliness of your marker and the quality of paint that you use, right? I've never been a big proponent on purchasing paintball barrels unless you like the aesthetic, you like the look. But the tricky thing about this was these like Delrin plastic little pieces here. Now the point of this was when the gelatinous paintball fires through your barrel, it's really bouncing all through the inside. I remember looking at this old post, I think it was on PB Nation back in the day, but I could not find it. I searched everywhere for it. But they put some sort of coating on the paintballs as they fire them through, and it shows where the paintballs are hitting throughout the barrel. Now the cool thing about this is when your paintballs are fired through it, these plastic pieces, basically no matter where it is in the barrel, it allows it to adjust and travel through perfectly. So let's talk about how you go ahead and take these off or put them on. Now the cool thing about this barrel system is it gives you more control over how your barrel is set up, right? I always say paintballers like options, and this gives you way more options than what you'd have with any other barrel. I can promise you that. So when selecting out the O-rings, the orange O-rings are the light O-rings, the green O-rings are the medium O-rings, and the blue O-rings are the heavy O-rings. All right, so what does that mean? That means it's gonna have more constriction on these plastic pieces, keeping them more in place as a ball passes through. So how do you get these on there? It's really quite simple, all right? And I'll show you with the smallest O-ring, so you guys know I'm not just like, oh yeah, it's super easy. It actually is really easy. I was really surprised. I thought this was gonna suck to put on and off, but honestly, it's not that bad, and I did it at the field multiple times as I was testing it. So all you gotta do is you put the O-rings on first, like I just did, and you just slide the plastic piece under there. And it goes right in place. And you do that with all 6 plastic pieces. Now, I don't know how he decided to arrange the plastic pieces and whatever. I'm sure he did multiple tests to decide the perfect placement for these things. But there's 6 of them, and they're really easy to get in and get out, which I really appreciated because I was worried this was going to be a huge pain in the butt and I was going to freaking hate it. The only thing is potentially losing them. But, I mean, I think you can buy all 6 again for like $9 if you lose them, so you may want to invest in extras, but I've been using it. I haven't lost any, so that's good. But as you can tell, it's really easy to get the O-rings on there. Super fast, super simple. You just slide the plastic pieces under there. When I was using this barrel, I went ahead and bore matched, and I put on the lightest rubber band, right? Because I was like, it's already bore matched, maybe the lightest rubber band. I don't want to get too crazy with it. I'm going to test them all anyway. So that's what I did. And honestly, like compared to my .684 ultralight, it shot really consistent with this kind of crappy paint, which I was really surprised. And I was like, holy cow, man, this is like a magic barrel. This is sick, right? So I was like, oh, I bet I'll be even more consistent and I'll gain more velocity if I put a more heavy O-ring on there. So I put the green one on. And then things started getting weird, right? My consistency got jacked up, and then my velocity actually went down. And I was like, that's the opposite of what I thought it was going to be. Then I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw the blue ones on there. Maybe the green ones are just not good. Like, they're not good. I don't know. So I put the blue ones on there, and it got even worse. So I was like, what the heck is going on, right? But then it came to me, right? This is a tinkerer's barrel system, right? You have to figure out what works best for your paintballs. So what I did was I went back to the orange. Sure enough, shot great. Shot fantastic. Shot super consistent. Like plus or minus 3 over and over and over. Somewhere like right on the dot. Same. 292, 292, 292. I was like, this is freaking awesome. I usually don't get that type of consistency with my barrels, so I was really pleasantly surprised. But this is definitely a tinkerer's barrel. So I could see like autococker enthusiasts, all those guys, or people that really like to dial in, maybe like G6R owners, people that really like to dial in their markers. This is pretty cool. I think that this has a place in paintball, and I love the performance of it. But one thing about like putting on the smaller O-rings I found out was I think I was causing too much friction, right? So my paintball was going through, the O-rings were too tight, causing too much friction on the ball, slowing them down and ultimately screwing up my shot. I had to kind of mess around to find which one shot best, and it was this back and the orange O-rings. And then I tried using this one right here. So this one says, it's like basically think about it like a single insert that could do multiple sizes. Essentially it's a 691. And so, I mean, if you have this one here, this 691, you don't really need this one. But supposedly this one can go from 675 to 685 as well. I did not see, as I changed the O-rings out, like some crazy significant like gains as far as like I didn't increase efficiency. But when I put the rubber bands on, the different color ones, once again I put the orange, then the green, then the blue, I did lose some, because of the friction I think, I did lose some velocity. So once again, at least for the paint that I'm using, the orange O-rings are golden, right? So that was a lot of fun. I thought it was really cool. Did take me some time to figure it out, but now I know like my field does not buy any other paint. That is it. So I'm just gonna set it and forget it and really just leave it. But I could see people loving to tinker and identifying which one shoots best, and I could not believe the consistency though. That is the biggest thing. Like I wouldn't say I got efficiency gains, but I definitely got some consistency gains, which I would say consistency helps with accuracy because it's landing in the same spot over and over again. I think that's helpful. So there's something with this barrel. Like I said, I don't know the science. I am not into physics. I can't like break this down for you, but I can say as I was playing with it on the field, it shot really, really well. It was easy to point. It's a 14-inch barrel. It's very similar shape to a lot of the barrels out there. And it's just, it looks like a very standard barrel. That's the thing about this barrel. It's not fancy. There's no bells and whistles on it. I'd even go as far as saying it's a little loud, right? So I think the way it's designed, because it has to fit this in and everything, it doesn't have a lot of porting. I do think it'd be cool to have more porting. I think that would maybe make it less loud, because it's definitely louder than my ultralight, 100%. But it shot fantastic. I love the way it shot. It shot great. And so I had a lot of fun with it when I used it. Now the thing about this compared to all the other barrels available out there is all the other barrels out there are literally clones of themselves. They all are the same. They're all a tube in a tube, right? If you're looking for something different, that's actually different, that actually may have some benefits that I've personally experienced, and you know I'm not gonna just BS you and just say, this is the best barrel ever, because you've seen some of my reviews where I was not super stoked on the product. I think that this thing has something going for it. I do think that it's a tinkerer's barrel, right? So you got to kind of play with it. But if you're at your field and your field shoots the same paint, you can pretty much just kind of set it and forget it. Maybe when there's different lots, there may be some changes, but just check the barrel size. It came with a sizer, check it. Like I said, a few things could be better, right? The case here, the case could definitely use some work. This is a rather cheap case. I do think a barrel system like this, I think a selling point, especially because you're buying it for like $130, would be a nice case. But the barrel, I think you could use more porting to make it a little bit quieter. I do think more barrel back options would be really cool in smaller barrel sizes. I think 691 is a little bit too large. But if you're overboring, it's a good option. But I think having more like smaller size, a lot of players like to go with smaller sizes. I think that'd be beneficial. Especially if you look at using it for like a pump or something like that, you may want to include some smaller sizes so you don't get any rollout. Stuff like that. That'd be really cool. So you cater to those players as well. And I like when it comes with the size and everything like that. I think it's cool with the QR code. I think it's getting with the times. I think it's really awesome. I would like to see like maybe more O-ring sizes and things like that, which would be really neat. But you could literally go out and just buy O-rings if you want to and throw it on there to mess around and tinker with it some more. So there's plenty of options for you as a player with the Overcore barrel kit. The Overcore barrel kit, I will say, is unique. There is nothing like it available out there right now. Literally every other paintball barrel is a tube within a tube, okay? This is not, right? This is unlike anything you've ever seen, and it has some really, really cool features to it that I think paintball players are really gonna enjoy and appreciate once they get their hands on it. Yes, it looks questionable, right? Why? Because it's different. Sometimes different is scary, but in this case, different is cool. So if you're considering a new barrel kit, get something that literally is not the same thing that is widely available everywhere else. If you get a barrel from HK Army, it's gonna be the same thing as a Diamond, it's gonna be the same thing as the Freak kit, it's gonna be the same thing. They all do the same thing, right, with their 8-inch barrel kits. And by the way, this also takes Freak XL kits. So if you wanna run your Freak XL kit in here too, boom, you could do that, right? Which is super cool. Now the try before you buy program is not just for a short period of time, it is for 30 days. So you have more than enough time to decide whether you like this barrel or not, which I think is super cool, and it just shows he stands behind his product, he apparently knows it works, and I gotta say, I was really pleasantly surprised with the consistency gains I got while using it. Highly recommend, if you're into something different and you wanna try something different that actually seems to work, give the Overcore from Lone Paintball a chance. I think it's really cool. It's actual innovation within our sport. It's not just doing something over and over again and selling it to the players as if it is something new, right? This is legitimately something new, something different, which I'm very excited for. I'm also excited to see what else this company comes out with, because it seems like the owner has that innovation mindset, doing things differently, right? With a try before you buy. Good luck finding that with other companies. I haven't seen it, so I think that's awesome. Visit the website, check them out. Once again, this is not paid for. I'm not affiliated with Lone Paintball. They sent it to me to do a review, and that's what this is about. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell if you want to see more videos, and I'll be sure to talk to you guys soon. Peace.
All I hear, go get the money, so I go get it. Hate means I do